Jason, we're going to you. Then Jason, go ahead. Hello? Hello, Jason. Jason.
Love is overdue.
All right. Chops, how you doing, sir?
I'm not bad at all, neighbor. Not bad at all. How are you?
Yes. What has elicited your your attention that made you join?
You know, I am other than always interested in the contents of your program and the way it is done. Travi, greetings to you, my brother. Caroline and Harry, blessings and greetings to all you.
Blessings.
And greetings to all your viewers. No, other than really enjoy supporting your program and the way it is conducted, I'm always interested in a program that is done in an organized and structured way, and I have to give that to you. But the discussion earlier, the whole argument of dancehall and its contribution to the culture overall.
Yes.
I tend to agree with the gentleman just now, where he said dancehall is a subculture. And that particular position, I agree with him on. Because you just played Greg Isaac, Know That My Love Is Overdue.
Yes.
And if you were to segmentize the reggae, you would place that sort of reggae as a subculture of another part of reggae. And if you look at reggae in its diverse form, you could very well say you have various different segments of reggae, which the gentleman would have referred to as subcultures. Yeah, so you're coming from ska into rocksteady into reggae. So there were three other genres that really brought about reggae. And then there's dancehall. And then Travi just mentioned trap dancehall. Hip hop had merged into trap. Dancehall has merged into trap dancehall. It's a total different beat. It's a beat that is closer to the rap beat, but with a different, softer, slower rhythm. And that's pretty much a new type of reggae. If you look at most of those new artists in Jamaica now, those new artists, none of them is doing any music on authentic dancehall or reggae beat. They are now doing their music on trap beat, which is closer to rap than it is to actual foundation dancehall. So there's a segmentation and a breakaway from the norm. But interestingly, if you were to look at popularity and international recognition, none of those new trap dancehall has made it to the level of the original dancehall sounds. And you can check the facts. Yes, they are doing a lot of streaming, but we know how that streaming works. It's not genuine record sales. It's you releasing a song on social media, and I can release a song. I can produce a song with you tomorrow morning, Neighbour, for example. And I hope I'm not letting the cat out the bag here. I can produce a record with you tomorrow. And tomorrow is Monday. We drop it on Wednesday. And by Friday, I go and buy the same song and run the stream up to 10 million. Didn't mean that 10 million person actually bought the song.
Wow.
So when you hear a lot of people boasting about streaming and how much numbers they're doing, are they doing authentic numbers, or are they doing numbers that was bought and paid for?
Comment though on the broader context, because I think the context that brought this about was young Green appearing on a stage, seeming to be introducing an artist or something like that. But his voice was very high and appears out of character for some. How do you view that?
For most of who don't know, Green, we're talking about Minister Green, Floyd Green, correct? We're talking about Minister Floyd Green, correct?
Yes.
Minister Floyd Green is no stranger to dancehall. He's a selector and a hype man, if you ask me. And if you listen to him, he is good at it. It's something that he's been doing for a long time. He has an annual show that is kept down here in St. Elizabeth. I've attended quite a few times. I missed it this time because of not being on the island. But he's no stranger to that, and he does a very good job. Now, I will tell you that if we had more Jamaicans at his level connecting with our music at the level that he's connecting, perhaps our influence on those persons who participate in dancehall, the culture, probably our influence would have been stronger, not just for the political gain there is, but also to help to guide the young artists in making sure that they follow a certain line. So I believe that him doing that, I'm not a stranger to it. I have a lot of clips with minister holding the mic and getting it done in the dance hall. It's not something new for me. He's done it all the time. Every year at his party, he actually goes on there and spin a few tunes. So I'm for it. I love it. Michael, somebody have to mute him.
Good night.
Somebody have to mute him. Background noisy.
Listen, Don Campbell talk about dancehall. Well, we drop reggae here. Let's move on. By the way, Orchid, you came back up. Do you wanted to add something to that?
Yeah, my 2 cents on it is it's not that we have a problem with Floyd Green associating with the dancehall culture, as one may put it, but it's like you stated before, it's the expectation, and we shouldn't be worried about what people are going to say, but we also have to worry about what the mass is going to say when he's in a certain space, and wanting to be, or persons wanting to be, I should say, they represent our country at the highest level. People have certain expectation on what dancehall is today. Certain persons, some people would want to shy away from that space. So I think that's where the problem lies. Him being there is not a problem.
May I ask a question though, in that regard?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you are familiar with where dancehall is coming from. But the dancehall that I am accustomed to, even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would say, dancehall has changed for a lot of reasons. Corporate sponsorship has become a part of dancehall, and that has forced dancehall artists to behave in a more civilized and professional manner. Yeah, dancehall today is more professional today than it has ever been. Let me tell you why I say that. Yeah, of course. Let me tell you why. Yeah, let me tell you why I said that.
All right, I'm listening.
If you go back 10 years from now and count the amount of dancehall artists almost on a yearly basis that used to be incarcerated or get arrested for whatever involvement in crimes or unlawful behavior, it was significant. How many of those have we had in recent times? So when you look at that, the violence that dancehall used to bring out in terms of what the artists themselves used to promote, you don't get a lot of that anymore. So there's a shift, there's a change, and that change came about. I watched the change. That change came about when corporate Jamaica started to use dancehall artists as ambassadors for products on services. Because of that, it forced them in a corner. They didn't want to lose that money that is coming in from the corporate folks. So therefore, they start to behave in a more professional manner. So the truth is, dancehall is not like what we thought it was or what we're accustomed to it being 10, 15 years ago. It has changed.
Well, not here.
Just like you and Travi, I like what you said, you know, Travi is somebody that I listen to and I would spend the whole day listening to, but I was kind of not so much in agreement with some of the things. I tend to lean to what, maybe I'm too old fashioned, so I kind of lean over to Neighbour. And I see what you all are saying, you know, and I understand what you're saying, but I have to be in agreement with Neighbour because it's not just about the person. And yes, it's all fun and game and you go up and I can have fun as well. But it's just what, you know, the wider society gonna think and gonna say, you know, how it's been interpreted. That's where the problem lies. So it's not about the music and whatnot. It's just, I think it's the space and this person.
I don't think society should. I don't think we should box our leaders in a corner, suggesting that they should not socialize.
No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with him socializing.
What's the problem?
Hold on, Chops. Hold on, my husband wants to say something. One sec.
Right.
Why is that tea? Is that tea?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, listeners. My neighbor and listeners.
Mhm.
We're not. I am not trying to disrespect dancehall. Dancehall has brought a lot of positive things to Jamaica. You understand? We can't say dancehall has not brought positive things to Jamaica. It certainly has. And I can tell you, if you go into a certain amount of chops, I should say, with the music industry, no pun intended, chops. But what you'd realize, the emergence of the dancehall music and what the messages that it sends, right? That it sends came up at a specific time in Jamaica history and in world history as well. You have to remember the main influence and the main music in Jamaica at the time when dancehall emerged was reggae music. But reggae music, as beautiful as it was considered a very dangerous form of music because of the revolutionary aspect of it and the social commentary that was brought to it. So there's a reason why reggae, in a lot of, even though you have lovers rock and you have all these kind of different parts of reggae in itself was downplayed quite a bit because of the amount of social commentary and the influence that it had on a lot of people in the world, whether you want to believe it or not. No, dancehall, even though it spoke about a lot of things, a lot of social injustice and whatever else, it was, what would I say, more laissez-faire, more out there, more relaxed, more soft in its engagement in terms of real deep issues than reggae music.
I'm sorry though, Orchid. I only have 20 minutes and I don't.
That's fine.
Catch me tomorrow, please.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you. All right. Travi?
Sir.
Turn up your Travi.
Yes, sir. You can hear me better now?
Yes, sir. Travi, I have in my hand here a book that your party published for the election. You remember this book?
Oh yeah.
It report just now. Could you repeat that, please?
Your party published this book for the you remember?
Yes, I remember it.
You have your copy there?
Yes, I have a copy, not here in my hand now, but I do have a copy.
Yes, sir. Travi, I have
kind of like a souvenir.
I have spent 2 months trying to understand the results of the election.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got it today. There is a theory track that suggests that humans adapt to improvements.
Yes.
And they reset their expectations at that time. And I feel, Travis, that your party would have raised expectations in Jamaica. In other words, you have raised the bar. And within those expectations, Travis, there is disappointment. But the disappointment is unreal because somehow you have not communicated the successes of the government so that the people lower their expectations. And I think it probably hurt you in the election. In that regard, Travis, how is the party now understanding? By the way, do you know if the party has studied the last election result, or they are just fine that they have won? You know that if they have studied it?
Yes, neighbor, they have.
Okay, I don't.
If I may jump in there, sorry, you never posed a question to me, but I just figured I'd answer it. Yes.
Yeah, what is am I onto something here, Scott? That that expectations in Jamaica are high. The people expect this as a norm without realizing for example, how is it, Chops, that you could have a 42% reduction in crime and the government don't make a big thing out of it? How you do that?
Neighbor, your guess is as good as mine. Every billboard in Jamaica should have been purchased.
Yeah,
not just by the Ministry of.
But they don't listen here. You know, sir, I go downtown sometimes 4 or 5 o'clock in the mornings. And I'll never forget, sir, when I came to 3 Miles, that electronic billboard there had the Jamaica Labour Party ad. And it struck me as I was coming. There was Andrew Holness. There was the Jamaica Labour Party. Chops Media, 30 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Saw this in Jamaica. You don't realize that the people of Jamaica think that it's just normal days. It's not normal, you know, Chop.
It is. You're perfectly right, neighbor. And I said to myself sometimes, and listen, what you are perfectly correct. What you are saying is part and parcel of the GLP's biggest problem. They have never, historically, what people would call to their own horn. They have never highlighted their achievement. Let me tell you this, and I'm not taking any credit here, neither am I tooting my own horn. But I will tell you that when the Jamaica Labour Party won in 2016, we had zero presence out in the space as it relates to GLP's achievement. Yeah? When you go on Google in 2016 and you type Edward Philip George Siaga, you know who came up?
No. Manley.
Michael Joshua Manley.
And that's a fact.
As I lift my hand to God.
I can second that. That's true.
As I lift my hands to God. When you typed Edward Siaga in 2016, after JLP won the elections, it was Eddie Siaga that came up.
Wow.
I wrote to, at the time I wrote to Sharon Hay Webster. She was in the Ministry of Education at the time. And I believe she had some responsibility with JIS. At that time, I spoke directly to Robert Nestor Morgan, who was the Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister. And a matter of fact, I think I had actually sent screenshots to Sharon, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, about the whole situation. I said, we have to fix this. We have to fix this. We don't have a presence out here. None of our achievement is null. It is after that that we start to publish what Eddie Seaga has done. Most people in Jamaica and in the diaspora did not know of 50% of the things that Eddie Seaga did as a former prime minister for Jamaica. People did not know. It never existed. Because the 18 years of the PNP, they took a deliberate approach in removing the history of the JLP from the media. You could not rely on JBC was no longer around. They control RGR, what comes out. The Gleaner was no longer a credible institution that would play fair game. We had to fight to get the JLP to do something about making sure that Eddie Seaga's achievement, especially during the 1980s, was highlighted and recognized. I'm saying this to you now. It's the first I probably have said this on air. But we had to fight to get the JLP to start canonizing their own saints, highlighting their own achievement. It was a fight and a struggle to get it done. Neighbor, I go further. In 2020,
Yes.
we had to fight, continue the same fight in getting Belmont Road, which is the HQ of the party, to start recognize how important of an institution, and organization we are. And I fought, and thanks, I have to give credit to Robert Nesta Morgan, credit to Kamina Johnson-Smith, and those persons who participated in making sure that the communication room at the Belmont Road was built out.
Well, I will not make my research available. But I'm reading from it. I put down the loss of the 14 seats to a communication error on the part of the Labour Party. I want to make 2 points because I think the PNP have misread it badly too. This gain for the PNP is no gain in political support based on my research. Tops Media, the Labour Party raised expectations in the country. The people of Jamaica expect a lot from them. The achievements of the party, sir, had almost been erased from the people's mind. They felt that where they were normal things. This is how things ought to be. Media, it is not how it was. The credit for the successes of the government were not manifested in the last election, and that is a communications failure. Remember me tell you that.
I agree 100%.
You are a part of it, sir, and I would want
100%
this message to the party that they need to lay down milestones, Chops. Whenever you achieve something, Chops, you must make a big thing out of it.
But if you don't, people are going to forget.
Or do we think that it's so? Look, the government has found $10 billion. $10 billion, Chops Media. $10 billion. I'm going to say it again because a lot of people don't even understand what that means. Because you couldn't have found it when your debt to GDP was 140%. Couldn't find it. And the government has found 10 billion. I don't see the government making anything out of it, sir. They just keep a little press for conference. They launch rules. They launch rules. And they're going to give out five. You're going to give a man $500,000 check and make a big things out of that, sir?
But let me tell you, neighbor, the thing is, what people fail to recognize is that when you set these barriers, and you lift the standards and expectations of Jamaicans, and people start to behave like it is normal times.
That is right.
Yeah? It is on you to go in there. I think we're the party, and I put some blame on the party because I saw where the government took the initiative during the last elections to activate the communications team within the ministries. What they did, Neighbour, was they used the ministry legally so, because every ministry has a communications team,
Okay.
and they use it during the election to make sure that things were highlighted. Now, my problem is things are not to be done solely because there's an election.
Right.
For example, we ramped up the communications during the elections, yeah?
Right.
And we probably didn't take it to the level that we needed to. But we secured a historic third term. Now, since then, we have gone back to sleep because we promoted those players who were active out there. The PNP could not say a word without hearing from Marlon Morgan, for example. They could not put 1 ounce of misinformation without we highlighting it here on social media. They
Yes.
could not do it without an APCA Fitzenley. A matter of fact, what we had instituted in the party at the time was a 5-prong approach to communication headed by Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. Shireen Golding was a part of the communications task force. APCA Fitzenley was also the chairman of the group as well. You have Marlon Morgan. I think Nestor was also still there and was one of the persons slated to communicate on certain issues. You had
And Dr. Tufton.
and Dr. Tufton also. You had even I think all the general secretaries and deputy general secretaries for all the area councils were a part of the communications task force. It was an active group of communicators. And they would have the press conferences and they would come out, and then you have G2K, you have Young Jamaica. They were fired up too. So with that, during the election, you had an improved communication. What should have happened, Neighbour, is what we saw 6 months going into the election should have been 2 years before. Yeah? Because truth pressed to earth will always rise. If you if you leave a lie unchecked for a period of time, that lie becomes true.
Yeah. You know what I found out also
yes.
in this paper that I've written is that if the government was able to connect the people to the improvements, they probably could have won 50 seats. Let me tell you the truth. If the government was able to connect the people to their standard of living, you know, sir, there are people going to Shein tomorrow to pick up packages valued at less than $100 US. And most of them don't know that it's the government is doing that for them, you know, sir.
Yeah, Neighbour, you're spot on. I don't know how to tell you. You are 1000% correct.
All of them
and again,
going to pick up them roses tomorrow and them eyelashes and them blouse and them skirt. All of these girls, they don't make that connection that this is their government that is allowing them to do that without paying taxes, you know. And those people who are bringing in things through the airport for less than $1,000, you think they know it? You think they make the connection, sir?
Some do, but most don't. And it's the most that you want to. It's the most that you want to. And you see, the problem is Neighbour, is a lack of repetition. We don't repeat these things. We don't repeat them. We believe that if we run an ad for a couple of days, that's it. You have to repeat these things. It should be the time slot for 12 o'clock news every day for the next 3 years.
Let's come back to this crime situation here. I have not seen in my lifetime a greater moment in Jamaica where we took murders from 1,700 to below 700. Did you know that there's a dishonest spin that has been put on this chops?
Oh yeah.
We are suggesting that, you know, oh no man, police unaliving is up. It is the security forces that should be credited for it.
Yes.
I think chops that the government should call if I even half day of lockdown for us to say, let's stop Jamaica. Not let's stop. Every Jamaican should have stopped for even
and reflect.
and reflect on where we are coming from.
We should have a parade around Jamaica. There should be a parade with the police force and security forces.
Parade the police officers. There you go. Call a parade of the police officers and let Jamaicans see the heroes. These men did it.
Yes, they did it.
They did it.
Neighbor, I told you this story before that I wrote several articles in the paper, and one of my campaign at the time was to dismantle the police force. I remember one of the titles of my article was dismantle, rebuild, retool, rebrand. That was because I never believed that the police force in Jamaica had it within them, could be reformed. So I said, let's lock it down. And not just lock it down. I gave suggestion on how to lock it down. I said, announce a day for closing down the police force, and then ask for international assistance. Get a peacekeeping group from the CARICOM, from United Nations, and our African brothers and sisters to hold the fort for us while we rehire, retrain, and retool our police force. I did the whole research, and I wrote that article because I never believed that the police force could have bring themselves out of the quagmire that they were in.
Yes.
I said that they were the most corrupt and inept force in the world. I said those words, and I lived to swallow them. One of the quote in one of my articles was that you cannot pour clean wine in a dirty vessel. So I was even downplaying investing money into it, because when I said that, I said that on the background that how could you be now thinking about spending billions of dollars in a corrupt police force? That's like pouring clean wine in a dirty vessel. And I live to have to apologize and swallow those words because they did it. Dr. Chang started with Robert Montague.
Yes.
And they spent money, gave the support, and we got the result that we needed.
Yeah.
You go back and check. The government did that.
Yeah, the government lifted expectations and it hurt them. Let me go to Harry. Coming back to you, Travi. Harry.
Yes, neighbor.
Harry, the perspective of the raising of expectations, where Jamaicans are not seeing the successes of the government as just norm. So the government is not getting the credit for it. Don't you think that is an argument that supports the failure of communication that we have been highlighting here over the last couple of days?
It has, neighbor, right? And you know, I've been one who have spoken about the standard being raised, and as such, the administration will only be judged by its very own achievements, and thereof going forward is not about judging the standard of 20 years back. It's about what happened in the last decade or so.
Yes.
And as such, if you don't communicate the fact that you have landed upon a new standard, right? Because you have to lay the foundation of that and ensure that people understand it, down to the nicks and crannies of the nation, understand that listen, we've unlocked a new level, and as such, we will no longer be looking back. And as such, I want you to appreciate and build upon this new standard, because we're not looking to revert to past times. Anything we're doing now, it is to be better than where we were yesterday. And as such, you take it from that angle and don't let them ever forget it.
You have to communicate the progress. You have to communicate progress.
You have to, neighbor, and I said it, human beings learn through repetition. We understand things through repetition. That is just how we're made. And if you leave it up to chance, then you're also giving up the foothold that you have now on people elevating themselves. You're going to allow things like misinformation to reel in back people, because what? If you don't communicate it, people can't really and truly see that this standard has impacted them, and it is also the main driving force to them pushing on to their dreams and aspirations. If you don't, then the people will not see. They'll just credit to themselves being resilient.
Yes, yes, yeah. So the very successes of the government, Harry, is the very thing that the government is failing at. These expectations that they have raised, Harry, some of them are unmet. Wouldn't you agree?
They are, neighbor, right? They are. And I think what the administration needs to understand that communicating things to people is a major part of governance, right? It is not something you just do when it comes close to election time. You don't narrow it down to a party type of thing. Because when the work is being done, you want people to know that you have done it for them. Because if they don't know that these things are done for you, the fact that now there are things you said you would have done and you didn't achieve those things, that is where they're going to beat you with the stick. And such, because you never communicate any possible shortcomings or the other things that you've achieved in spite of, right? These are the very areas that the government will be seen as failing the people. And while there's two sides to that, the people will always look at the negative part because the positives were never ever communicated to them on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. If they don't know, they can't be a part of. And that is a problem with not having that significant communication.
Yeah, I mean, 300,000 jobs, Harry, cut in poverty, infrastructure, massive improvements, cut in crime. Where are the milestones? How are people remembering where they're coming from? It is a story that is yet untold, you know, Harry.
It is, neighbor, right? And it's sad that in this day and age where information is so wide and easily transmitted, that we have not transmitted the very influences and achievements of our government, right? And it can't be the fact that, oh, they're doing the work, so they're caught up and their hands are tied with delivering for the people. You can deliver all you want. If I don't know you're delivering it for me, then I'm going to be against you. And that is how the average man looks at it. I heard the gentleman earlier came up and saying, oh, government let JPS increased the rate and so on. And he doesn't know. I can bet you that he doesn't understand what that 150 million did for the country in this short period of time. Because if he doesn't understand that the OUR handles the regulatory aspect of the rates and so on for JPS, in fact, he wouldn't have even known that a 7% increase is a blessing, right? Compared to what JPS wanted and could have put in place. And there was something we couldn't have handled that, we couldn't have disputed, but the 150 million also helped with that. So if people don't know in this day and age, because getting the clip bites and so on of the bigger picture is good, but you want people to be a part of the process. They want to understand it. And this is where solutions and suggestions also comes from the very people. And that is how you now incorporate them after you've engaged them. Because that is where the national pride to say, yes, we have achieved it. Not the government, not the JCF, but we have achieved it because it's a collective. And if that's not communicated to the people for them to be a part of it, then it doesn't make sense.
You know, Harry, let me just say this before you run to Travi, neighbor. I know you're going to Travi next. But let me just say this real quick. Communications is not free. And I think one of the expectations that have been set since 2016 is that we can achieve effective communication through voluntary service. Because that's what a lot of us did, and that's what a lot of us have done, is volunteer our time to come on here and to spread the gospel of good news about the Jamaica Labour Party. I think at some point, they have to recognize that it is not cheap, it's not free. And if you're not willing to spend hard-earned dollars to ensure that people are educated, it will end up costing you dearly. And one of the things I cannot afford to do is to sit back and relax and allow for another government to take charge of this country, knowing their history, knowing the history of what they have achieved before, and to allow that to happen. So because of that, I'm motivated to do this without even being engaged at any level. We're not soliciting that, but I'm saying communication is not free, and we have to start.
And that is the thing, Orchid. Sorry, Chops. With the fact that the Jamaica Labour Party may see persons like ourselves doing it, whether you are affiliated or not with them, just your Jamaican pride and want to see Jamaica be better, they're not even piggybacking off it. And they can't leave it up to people like us because we're strapped for time in terms of resources. They can garner more resources than we do. They have the collective minds and the know-hows to do it. But they've pretty much been sat on the laurels. We're doing this because we want Jamaica to continue being better, to continue going forward and advance. Because we never like what happened back then. I want to ensure that we don't revert to it. But this is a layup for them to even piggyback off. They can, as I said, they can garner more resources. They have more ears. They have more people with platforms to do. Because one of the things, Chops, just giving people recognition, for example, going on their program and so on, with how, for example, TikTok, with the gifts and so on, people earn through that. If you give people the recognition in that aspect, they also earn without you, I know people would be contracted to do these things. We've heard it in the space, but that is also something you can do to get your message out. And these aren't rocket science.
That's the most effective tool that Trump used, my brother. Trump picked persons during his campaign who were just merely a social media blogger, and he blew them up to the extent that they became contributors to the party.
Yes.
We've seen that. What we see in Jamaica instead of that? Our own powerful ministers and MPs clicking their own live, going on live and thinking that is effective. The time you spend, and I'll say this publicly to every MP who does it, or minister who does it, without any fear of contradiction or apology, your time would be better spent going on existing social media bloggers' page, highlighting what you're doing and promoting them at the same time. Because the more you promote them, the bigger they become, the more effective they are, and the more they contribute to you. You're wasting your time. I don't even go on their program.
Yes.
I hardly pass. If I pass and see an MP on our minister on talking, I just keep on scrolling because I don't subscribe to that crap.
Yes.
Go and support the little man out there who is fighting for you. Give him the clout. Don't compete with him.
Wow.
And
I say that without fear of contradiction.
Just to add to that, Chops, I'm not calling somebody say Uncle Trump and whatever. With his team, because he wasn't, he didn't accept to do this, but he wanted to win, right? But the mastermind behind him going on so many different programs, even those who wasn't in line with him, was his son that orchestrated it and carried it out. I know that the scripture says a child shall lead them. And a Jamaican, an average man, the solutions coming out from the people, if you listen to the people can lead themselves through these things, They are, if you listen closely, and I'm saying it for the government administration and everybody, the party and so on, even the opposition, because they need to rebrand and come again. Put your ears back to the ground, to the very grassroots of what the people need. Because they will, if you listen carefully, they will also tell you how to communicate it to them. But if you are too high up off the ground, you can't hear it. And as such, you will miscommunicate. You will even leave people ignorant of good information. Because people can get the information, but don't know how to decipher it. And as such, you don't leave that up to chance. So you have to listen carefully, incorporate it, and do what needs to be done if you truly want Jamaicans to know what you've done for them, know Jamaica how to get the information, to also empower them to build upon that very information, because word of mouth work. Once you get the information out there, the discussions will be had in communities and on the corner. And that is what you want as a government.
Yeah. All right, Travi, he's gone.
I'm here. I am here listening. Very powerful conversation.
Travi, are you a member of Young Jamaica?
I'm not.
Huh?
I'm not a member of Young Jamaica.
Have they solicited your membership?
They have not.
Have they tried to recruit you?
Yes.
They have not.
What about Young Jamaica?
Neither
G2K.
No, neither.
But you know, Travi, I hear that somebody tells me that, neighbor, this young man, Travi, is one of the top explainer of things on TikTok. How could a talent like you not be recognized by the party? Is there something?
I am not. Well, neighbor, I'm not living in Jamaica. Let's start there.
No, you don't need to say that. No, come on, Travi. This is a global village, man. You don't need to say that.
Right. So I'm thinking maybe that's a part of the disconnect, or I am not sure. I really don't want to say something or put forth a perspective. I'm simply going to say I'm not sure what it is.
Okay.
Would I be a member? Would I be a member? Yes, I would be a member. In fact, I've applied to the party before to become a member.
And your application is been processed?
Well, I honestly don't know the outcome because it was right about the time when I left.
Oh.
It was right about the time. So I never got a response, and honestly I haven't checked into on it. I never checked back.
Yeah.
They didn't reach out, I never checked back.
Travi, where is G2K? Where is Young Jamaica?
I believe they can do more. The individuals are there.
They can do more. Where are they?
Let me invite the Young Jamaica president to join you, and he could probably answer you. Or let me invite both.
Yes, because I don't want to say anything.
And let's see what they have to say. I'm going to invite
I don't want
both
to say anything untoward.
Okay.
No,
yes, I paid the fee. Yes, I paid the fee. For those who are asking, yes, I had applied and I'd paid the fee. But like I said, it's in part my fault because I never checked back and they never reached out, and then everything else just caught up with me, and then that's what I focused on.
Okay, let me ask you this, Travi. How powerful do you think social media is today in terms of political messaging? And I want you, in answering that question, to compare it to traditional media in our space in Jamaica.
Social media has given connection and communication a power that is never before seen. As a matter of fact, social media is the global town square. Social media has given the entire globe, people in different countries, one single town square.
Social media is the town square.
Yes.
Wow. In other words, you feel that this space is extremely influential.
We all can meet here, neighbor. You're where at, I'm where I'm at. Chops is where he's at. Caroline is living lovely where she's at, but we're right here talking to each other in real time, as if we left our house and just meet out into Sam Sharp Square and in each other's presence having a conversation. And that is why I say social media is the town square of the world.
Okay. Now, do you feel that this space, not Hello Neighbor, social media, had any impact on the results of the September 3rd elections?
If social media had any impact?
Yes. And how would you measure it?
Social media had a great impact, a very, very big impact. And I said great, colossal. Because here's one other thing, neighbor. Many people leave different countries to come to Jamaica for general elections. And those people has been in constant communication and discussion about current affairs in Jamaica through social media, not sitting down and waiting on the 7 o'clock nightly news or live at 8 p.m. or whatever they call it, but in real time throughout the course of the day, even throughout the course of the night, sometimes have been having live discussions about current affairs and the direction of the country.
Yes.
So my answer is yes. Social media played a big part. It has negative impact and it has positive impact.
All right, let's break that down then. There is on social media, and I had several clips lined up here that I could play with a lot of disinformation traveling.
Yes.
Disinformation that can hurt the party you support.
Yes.
Disinformation that probably is even hurting the party now.
Yes.
What it is that you guys are doing to combat this disinformation, to assert yourself, to build a fence around your prime minister, to protect the work of the government, the legacy of the government. What are you doing?
Like Chaps would have alluded to earlier, we volunteer our time to make videos and be present on platform like this and have robust debates. Sometimes disrespected, sometimes applauded, but we make ourselves present to fight the fight because Jamaica is important to me specifically. My reason is Jamaica is very important to me because Jamaica represents my home. It represents my place of retirement. It represents my children's future. So for those causes, I have to fight the fight. I have to, give my time to be here to combat lies, combat the misinformation and disinformation, expose some of the tricks that they will play on people here on social media. Because the truth is, a lot of people in social media, but some people can't decipher what is true and what is fake. And some people are simply unable to get the correct information. So we have to be here to point them in the right direction, to explain stuff like you had explained earlier. Certain things need explanation so people would understand, because people would hear some just like misinformation and disinformation. A lot of people don't know the difference. Like you had explained earlier, it is important for us to be out here to explain it to people.
You don't think, Travi, that it would help the party if the party establishes an online presence that is coordinated? It don't have to be paid, but coordinated, where Party Central guides its social media functionaries with information. And as I suggested earlier, you could I don't know, and I don't want to call names, but you don't think it is time for the party to assert itself more in this space here? It is a powerful space, Travi.
Yes, true. And I agree with that. And it goes back to listen, I wanted to say this earlier, but Chaps asked to come in first and he ended up saying the exact thing and in the exact direction that I was going. And I'm so happy for that I'm not the only person thinking like that. The officials, yes, they can put and have a social media space and continuous communication, but they must also respect your work, neighbor, respect my part, and show up for us, have the discussions with us, because that is only going to grow our platforms, grow our reach, grow our credibility. We're already out here volunteering time. And if we make a little money in the way, nothing is wrong with that, because we're not asking you for pay. I'm not saying we would not be willing to be paid for our time and our work. That's not what I'm saying. But you can also just be here. Your presence here brings attention, brings traction to our platforms, whether it be here or on YouTube or wherever. And engagement brings revenue. That's how social media works. Engagement brings revenue. And if your presence, your simple presence, 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes to be here. Because, neighbor, let me tell you something. Your program is one of the programs that Chaps mentioned when he came on. It's organized and is run properly. Your program is fitting. I don't always come on live and run a whole program, but I make videos and I attend live discussion. And I'm saying your program is a program that is fitting for any minister, any government official to come on and have a discussion with us, the people.
Yes.
And that is, and because social media is so important and so powerful, they need to hear this message. And let me tell you why they also need to hear the message. If you look at the other side of what they're doing, they are approaching social media and putting themselves in front to try and build a presence out here. So we're not just competing with bloggers as blogger and blogger. Their people are joining up with the bloggers.
I see that.
So we have that to compete with.
Well, one more question before I move on. this information, Travi, is something that I guess a lot of people in Jamaica not even understand the disinformation. Do you think that the opposition is behind the disinformation? Do you think
100%, without a doubt? I don't believe it.
100%,
I don't believe it. I know it. There's a difference here.
They're not
Neighbor.
behind it. They have a whole apparatus that is set up solely for disinformation.
Right. So that's why I say to you, neighbor, it's not belief for me. I know it. I know they're involved. I know they're behind it.
Do you think it is coming from lower, the law? For example,
it comes straight from the top, neighbor. And you know how I know that? And you know how I know that? One of their prominent bloggers and another blogger got into a quarrel, and he spilled the beans on live for everybody to hear.
Is that so?
Yes.
Did you know, sir, that there is a line that is being pushed out there, that in the Joel and Silvera? It's before the court, so I don't want to say much on it. But do you know that there's a line?
And I understand.
Do you know that there's a line being pushed out there, sir, that somehow? Anyway, leave that alone.
Neighbor, you don't have to say it. I know what you're going to say, and most people know it because we've heard them say it. And it's ridiculous and laughable, but they are saying it. They are saying it, and I believe if the persons who are it is being said about don't respond and just stay quiet about it, it's not working in your favor doing that.
Trevor,
no, it's not.
Neighbor, in communism, for communist regimes to work, I don't know if you're familiar, there is not a single communist country or communist party that rise to prominence or leadership in any country that did so because of a fair election. They don't. You know what they always come to prominence based on?
Disinformation.
Disinformation,
Yes.
a coup with disinformation. Because one of the things that happens in those regimes is that, and it is said, if you leave a lie,
my God,
unchallenged, it becomes factual. It becomes true.
But stop, hold on. I hear George Davis saying last week that people were calling nationwide to ask if it is true that there was an extradition request for government ministers.
Yeah, and they will look here. They will manufacture those stories and put them out there, and there are persons who will buy it, hook, line, and sinker. They've done it so many times. But the thing is, we have a history, the JP that is, and we're moving away from it now. But we usually allow time to pass. I think it was almost a policy of the party to say, don't comment on it, leave it alone, let it die. But these things don't die. It becomes true. If it is left unchallenged, it becomes true. And the only time that we've been successful at this was during this 2025 election, where we had persons like Marlon Morgan out there aggressively. Every single word of misinformation that has been placed in the public space, Marlon Morgan will get on the radio, get on the TV, get on social media, and get ahead of it or get behind it. So it never had a chance to take root. But those that took root prior to the activation of the communications task force leading up to the last general elections, those things that had taken root before, they were blooming and blossoming and bearing fruit. So again, we won an election in 2020. And what needs to happen now is that we need to activate the communication task force in two ways.
Let me ask you a question. Is there no legal recourse for this nonsense, man? How can you be on social media to talk about people kill people? There has to be something legally that can be done. Is this not libel, sir?
Yeah, there is. I don't think enough examples have been set of these persons. I myself have been sitting on at least 4 different documents that I need to finalize to be distributed to individuals who I just cannot find them, neighbor. These people are hiding behind their keyboard, and some are residing overseas, some are residing in Jamaica, but you cannot get a hold of them to effectively serve them. I have 3,
But I heard
at least 3 ready.
saying that a certain individual unalived a certain individual. That cannot be just. I mean, I don't know.
Neighbor, we've heard it. I understand, and I understand your frustration. And to the point where, in the spirit of the term that Chops use about taking root, if you left certain things unchecked, I would say, especially in this time, Chops, because you see the misinformation and the disinformation, the lies, the blatant attacks, they are traveling faster than back in the day. They are traveling faster than last year.
When you read the comments, there are people that are believing it.
Oh yeah,
agreeing with it.
Yes, because some people, their source of information is not through research or reading or the Jamaica Library or getting, JIS and getting parliamentary papers.
Let me understand you.
It's
You
WhatsApp
are saying
groups.
that these people are not just on a frolic of their own. They are not just coming up with these things out of the blue. That the party is behind it. Is that what you're saying to me?
Stand by that 100%.
And I support you 100%. Neighbor, do you know where I work?
No, sir.
I wonder if anybody on the live know where I work or who I'm associated with in terms of work, job in Jamaica.
Yeah,
Harry, you know?
Is that something you want to put out here?
No,
Yes,
no, because you will hear it out there, and I wanted to prove a point to you.
Yeah. So
Because-
there's this argument going about that you are the general contractor for the CRH and Children's Hospital in Montevideo.
And most Jamaicans believe that. It is so believable that sometimes I go on programs and I'm asked to comment on things that
Not
has to do
only
with
that,
Cornwall
Chuck,
Regional.
you're also the PM right hand.
Have you ever seen a picture with me and the Prime Minister?
You don't work at the Cornwall Regional Hospital.
I absolutely don't.
Don't take it
No,
serious.
hold on. You don't work at
I'm
the
just
Cornwall
saying.
Regional.
No.
Never had?
No, never had.
Really?
Never ever. Never ever.
You're also the PM's right hand.
I'm making that point.
You see why it is very important. Because here you are now. Because I thought that was true, I had no reason to doubt it. But
I'm telling you,
I thought this was quite
it
true.
is national. It is known all over Jamaica. Everybody believes that. Oh, he works for Cornwall Regional Hospital, and they even quote.
No, but you're the
figures.
big guy for Cornwall Regional. Remember one time I reached out to your jobs and tell you I'm begging you a job? That was the reason.
Hold on. No, hold on. Let me get it together. Can you say it too cute a while ago, Chops? Neighbor, the argument is he is the one building Western Children and is also building over Cornwall Regional Hospital. Chops is the one that got the $21 billion contract. That is the word that these people are pushing.
I thought, are you the chairman of a school board in Western Jamaica?
Yes, I am the chairman of a school board. No, that is correct.
That is true.
That is a fact. What I'm telling you, there are so many titles that have been given, and I'm just trying to prove a point to you that when you allow for something to take, and I've never really disputed because I never had to, so I allowed it to continue. But if you leave it unchecked, neighbor, it becomes true, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, it does. But Harry, these political functionaries, they are more closely aligned to the Labour Party than than you. Are you hearing what we are saying, Harry? Do you believe that this disinformation could be flowing out of the belly of the PNP?
Well, neighbor, if we follow the breadcrumbs, and look at who stands to benefit the most from these acts, then there's no question about it, right? And in fact, the whole aspect of it that has never been there has never been a push back and to disassociate themselves from it in terms of the opposition, then makes it even more cementing that they stand the most to gain, and also they have not spoken out against it. In fact, they have embraced it in more ways than one. And as such, you can only deduce from the law of deduction and in terms of science that is exactly what is happening. And until and if they're bold enough to come and say truthfully that they aren't, which I don't think they can, then we leave it as such.
Harry, hold on, Harry. I beg to differ. I absolutely beg to differ, but because of what you said just now. You say if you're bold enough to come and say something, Harry, I want you to do a search on the Observer for a story that oh God, remember the title of the story that the news story was about Crystal Tomlinson, PMPYO president at the time. She made a comment requesting that the party funds the propaganda arm properly.
Yeah, man, I have that. I know that. But so, the part, Travis, that I said, if it's true, that is a critical part, because they can come and deny as much as they want, and they've always done so.
But they have publicly stated
true.
But they have publicly stated that they are requesting funding for the propaganda arm of the party. And this is what we're talking about now. These people, they are the propaganda arm who are on social media spreading these misinformation, right? That is and that's why we can't be surprised if they're accused of buying vote, because the general secretary had said it on national TV. He had said it on national TV that yes, they do buy vote, and if you go there, any politician go there, somebody are going to say, "Want to give me a thing, no?" And it is something that we have to do. So yeah, it's no longer an accusation whether or not they buy vote. He has admitted to it.
Yeah, but it's clear, Travis, that there is no way you can respond to everything and all of this. What are the benchmarks? What are the limits? Where do you respond? What do you leave alone? What is the strategy that you think could be employed?
Again, the suggestion made by Chaps, which I do second, is empowering people like yourself who out of nothing strive to bring forth truth to the people. I watch you shut down Mr. Sydney's lies earlier this evening because it never served your program anything, it didn't get any good. That was you operating naturally. You wasn't for the lies, and you didn't want that on the program. So I'm saying endorse people who push for the truth and the information and help them up, as well as do your own part.
Yeah, because it is people like him, sir, that hurts the democracy. Because that is just the type of disinformation that he's accusing the minister of. Is the very thing that he's come here doing, and we don't accept that here.
By my suggestion, like I said, is aligned with Chaps. Don't click your phone and turn on no live. You're having no discussion. The people because you only do it once every 6 months or one time out of the year. The people who are on here for their leisure time, come and sit and talk with them, because look, we have 286 people. We're just hanging out and we're just having conversation about our beloved country and the way forward. Come and sit and talk with me, because you are the people who have employed to carry out this mission. So come sit and talk to me, man.
We don't have 286 people here. Still we have almost look. Well, if I show you the screen around here.
Never mind. It's the number I see that I quote, but I understand what you're saying.
Yes. I have another screen that I'm watching this on.
Truly. I've had that experience before, so I understand what you're saying. But my point is, to everybody who's listening right now and having the conversation, I've been here roughly an hour now. There are people who have been here since you start. I came in around about Sydney's time. And they're not going anywhere. And these people truly love Jamaica, love the party, love the administration and the direction that we're going into. Love us back, no man. Is that so hard? We're not asking for money. Come and sit with me and have a conversation.
I got a call today, Trump, about the disinformation in the diaspora. In other words, somebody was calling my attention to the fact that a lot of it is coming from overseas. So it's not only in Jamaica, but it's been spread widely outside of Jamaica. And I think they were suggesting that the conference that is coming up this year, that it should be used to address some of that, where the government needs to say something about it and be able to point people to a source. You don't think that the Labour Party should establish a network, Chavi, a network of their own, which
yes,
keeps the party's message out there, producing programs, maybe a YouTube channel that is just dedicated to Labour Party news, information about government, that people can go on and have their own discussion. You don't have to come here. They could have established their own. You don't think the party should doing something like that?
True. I agree. And coming here is not a too big of an ask, neighbor. Honestly, it's not a too big of an ask. And we have seen the power of engagement. Because watch here, neighbor, you have over 7,000 people who have watched your page. To come and do your program and to tap into that 7,000, you're reaching just 5 minutes of 30 minutes on your program. You see how much people they would have engaged? 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
I've asked at the highest level for them to just and this was during the political campaign. I said, look, guys, just at that time the Prime Minister did not have a TikTok page. And I beg for them to activate a TikTok page with the PM. That was done. Not saying they did it because I said, because there are several persons who probably would have mentioned this. I'm not taking credit for anything there. I'm saying that the Prime Minister did activate a TikTok page. And I asked them, I said, can we just ask the PM to pass through a few of these live discussions? Even for 2 minutes, even for 5 minutes, to say, hi, what's going on? I'm watching what's going on, and move on. Don't need to spend an hour, 5 minutes. Now, I can agree and understand that there are some TikTokers who the PM might not want to be associated with because of the type of contents and the fact that these people can just go rogue, and then it could have negative implication on the PM. But while I'm asking for that, you have the opposition leader at 2 a.m. in the morning on a TikTok live having discussions.
Yes.
The opposition leader at the time was on TikTok at 2 a.m. in the morning. Am I incorrect, Travi? You remember those days, right? 2 o'clock in the morning. And we couldn't get our PM to just...
Sir, I confirm. A delayed confirmation, but yes, I confirm. That is true. They had schedule for everybody who come through from General Secretary to come through. They had schedules for people.
Remember, the neighbor, I'm not talking about this for me, because I have made my way to the top. I hosted programs at the JLP annual conference for years.
Yes,
So it's not for me. I don't care about that stuff. I'm through with that. I want people like yourself and others who are out there to benefit from what is going on. And we're not seeing it, so I don't know. They might hear us tonight and might decide to.
Yeah. One question I want to ask. Do you think, or just tell me this, if the bloggers really get the recognition that they truly deserve?
Yeah, they do. They do get recognition. I can tell you that the party and the leader, no less a person than the leader, appreciate and never seize the opportunity to big up the bloggers. They've always said that, to big up social media. However, the issue I have is it's not the big up that I'm talking about. I'm talking about how do you utilize the space to benefit the party, which in turn will benefit Jamaica. Yeah? because this is always bigger than just the party. The Jamaica Labour Party maintaining state power is the right thing for Jamaica. So we're not necessarily fighting for the party. We're fighting for Jamaica. And I say that, neighbor, because it is not just something that I thought about. It is something that historically, history is on my side when I say that the JLP is better for Jamaica. There's nobody on earth that can dispute that successfully. Nobody. Nobody. History is there and history is on my side when I say that.
Yeah.
So I fight for that.
Yeah.
So that's why I fight for the JLP.
The legacy no chops. And I think Harry alluded to this brilliantly the other night when he spoke of preserving the legacy.
Yes.
Because where we are as a nation, chops. Don't make any doubt about it, we could go right back into the mess,
One mistake we made on February in last year. One mistake, and Jamaica would be hit with something worse than the hurricane we just had.
And don't you think, Chops, that when you looked at the Prime Minister in the last election, you saw that concern on his face. Will my country return? Will we go forward? I think that a burden was taken off his back when he won that third term, Chops.
You see, even during the campaign, when the Prime Minister had to go back to some seats 3, 4, 5 times, I think the Prime Minister, with the work that the JLP has done over the last 10, 15 years, 10 years for this country, since 2016, the work that party has done, do you think that the Prime Minister should be out there 2 o'clock in the morning campaigning, begging people to vote?
It hurt a lot of labourers.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Are you out of your mind? Should not have to.
Yeah.
But the nature of
the local government election, so the man lost his voice over in St. Andrew, and they still lost the division.
Let me tell you something, man. I just continue to support because I believe in the Jamaica Labour Party and history, like I said, Arcade and others. History is on my side. History has proven that we are the best.
Thank you, Chops. Thank you, Travi.
You're welcome, sir.
Blessings. No, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
And thank you, man. Keep up the good work, neighbor. Doing a great job.
Right. Big up yourself. Big up. All right, so we're going to spend a little time with you. You see, Harry, Orchid is with us. Listeners, here is the Zelle account, 954-635-8732. So I'm going to ask my moderator if you could just post that for me so that our listeners can register their appreciation for the program tonight. Hold on for me, Orchid. I want to thank Claudette Fox. Thank you, Claudette Fox. Yeah, got your message. Thank you so much. So that's 954-635-8732. All right, with X, we saw that message. We saw that. Minutes to 9 o'clock, and we're going to stay with you until 9. What a fantastic contribution from Travi and Chops. Yeah, great discussion. Started talking about dancehall and reggae. Sorry, Orchid, you were saying something?
Yeah, it's just my husband wanted to say something regarding
Evening again, neighbor. I'm going to try to be as short as possible, but I just want to recognize what you guys were saying and agree in many ways with what you're saying about communication, and especially with the Labour Party and communication. It has always been a weak point with the Labour Party communicating itself and its successes, and how it really has been leading Jamaica to a more prosperous future. But we have to understand that once there's a vacuum, something is going to fill it. If we're not putting the information out there, it's going to be put out there. And what has been put out there is misinformation. A lot of misinformation has been filling the vacuum that the Labour Party has left open in a lot of ways. You guys are social media guys. And one thing I've noticed, and I think the world has noticed, but maybe it hasn't caught up to some of the more senior people maybe in our party, that the social media space is the dominant space for information in this time.
Yes.
And it is the social media people who are the main purveyors of information. The traditional media is in how it is now, is something that is fading away.
Very, very fast.
You understand?
You know, my brother, I can tell you this, and I'm sharing this information not because I want to promote myself, but
right.
If I pull up the screen over here, we've gone way over 7,000 viewers since we started here. As a matter of fact, we're close to 10,000. Now you tell me which radio station in Jamaica at any time have 10,000 people listening to them, so
Precisely.
Not
precisely.
As a matter of fact, there is no month that our listenership is not more than 150,000.
There we go. And that is with the resources that you have. That is you using your resources to build what you have. Imagine now if additional resources were put into what you and others are doing to promote the things that need to be promoted, to reach the ears of the nation in the way that they need to reach the ears of the nation. And this is what
you know what is sad? You know what is sad, sir? You know what is sad? There are programs that are out there giving disinformation that are just as successful. Just as successful.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying to you? Just as successful, sir.
The thing is, the PNP, or I don't know if I should quote party names, but the opposing party, what they are good at is communicating misinformation through propaganda, whether it's misinformation to make themselves look better than they really are, and to make our ruling party look like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, when we're very much doing more than is being exposed.
It's been a very effective government, sir. No doubt about it. But you know, I tell you the truth. Sometimes I say, I wonder if Jamaican people understand how lucky we are.
We have no idea. No idea. We're blessed more than we can ever imagine, but because we're so blessed, we don't realize how blessed we are.
And you know, sir, I see the government finding $10 billion to give away. Give away, no, sir. Give away. This is $10 billion that Jamaicans will be getting starting this month. Some people going to get as much as 500,000 as a gift, sir.
That's an amazing
as thing. A gift, sir. And there are people out there talking about they should get more. Huh? No. Suppose the economy was at where it was in 2016. You think we're gonna find this money, sir?
Exactly.
Suppose the government didn't take out the cat bond. Huh?
That would be a completely different. Well, we thank the heavens. We thank God for the wisdom and the prudence that our leadership in Jamaica has. But like you said, unless this is unless this is properly communicated to the masses, like you said, they're going to fall for two errors. One of two errors: misrepresentation through miscommunications from the opposing party, or people are going to attribute their fortune or good fortune to other things.
Absolutely.
Other things that may have no credence.
That the expectations of Jamaicans have been lifted. The government lifted.
Definitely.
It is the government that lifts the expectation, you know.
Certainly.
Let me tell you something, you see, sir. There was a time in Jamaica when you aspire to buy a ladder, or you aspire to buy a little Toyota. Those aspirations are dead, you know, sir.
Oh yes.
People are now aspiring to drive Crown and Mark
Benz
X,
and BMW.
BMWs and Benz, because guess what? They look around them and they realize it is possible. It is possible, sir. And that is hope that has been infused into the people by the government, you know.
Now, how do we translate these facts into a communication that the population will appreciate and understand for what it is, and who delivered it?
Yeah, we know that the prime minister, yes. The prime minister is building social houses, and these are nice houses, you know, sir.
Yes.
The sociology of that, you know, is that no government coming after him can do anything less, you know, and they will reject it. You can't put them in anything less, you know, sir. You see these nice JUTC, but sometimes I feel like I want to park the old piece of car I have and driving about. Nice, you know, sir.
Oh boy, I'm telling you.
This is how you lift people's expectation. So people over time think that this is just norm. This is how it ought to be. They don't credit the government for it. And that is what the government has missed. You don't do that. You must allow people to appreciate that part of what they are enjoying is as a result of policies that the government has pursued on their behalf. Anyway.
Yes, neighbor. And thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. You and your wife have a great Sunday afternoon.
And you also, sir. And all your listeners.
Right. Yeah, man. She's the right one, eh? She's the right one. She's the right one for you, sir. All right, sir. You have the right girl beside you there. Fantastic, eh? What a Sunday. Till the right one comes along. What a fantastic couple that is, eh? They they make one call. Still yesterday is here and calling me. You changed my life and gave me everything. I can't believe what's going down between us. It was right for me, but it was wrong for you. You're just hanging on. And some of these people that are going to be getting these checks, I don't think even think they vote, eh? So true. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. How you doing? Twinkle, twinkle. Hi. Are you back? Are you back in the United States, Twinkle? Are you back in the United States, Twinkle, twinkle, little star? How I wonder where you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder where you are, eh?
I'm just saying.
All right, Orchid, you're settling down now with your orchid. That's so nice of you, sir. Mr. and Mrs. Orchid, have a great night, eh? Oh my goodness, snuggled up there, no?
Till the right one comes along. Still yesterday is here and calling me. You changed my life and gave me everything. Can't believe what's going on between us. It was right.
So Harry? You know, Harry, I've been looking at the whole matter of preservation of legacy, something that you raised on the program the other evening about preserving the legacy. And you know, Harry, I think that if the party is not careful, just as how Chop said earlier that there was a time when we typed in Edisiaga in Google and Michael Mann came up. The party will have to make efforts to preserve the legacy of this period, Harry, because it really is a significant part of Jamaica's history. When you look at where we are coming from to where we are, and you know where we're going, it's important to be preserved. Eh?
It is, neighbor. It is, especially with the fact that all we've been able to reference was a devastating time in Jamaica's history. It is just as important, if not more important, to kind of paint over that part of history that we have with something more positive, right? Because
you don't think, Harry, you don't think that Jamaicans want to forget that? And do you think that this is not part of the problem that I discussed earlier? That here we are, where Jamaicans don't really want to be reminded of the past so much. They want to base their aspirations and their dreams based on what they are seeing now. And in a sense, Harry, the meeting of these expectations is part of what the government is struggling with. The raising of these expectations.
it is, neighbor. It is, right? And I want to bring it to a part where, you know, there are ways in which people themselves and countries have preserved the legacies, neighbor. But
Yes.
I want what we're achieving now to be different from how it was done back in the days. So, you know, you have monuments, you may have policies named after people, buildings named after people. What I want to see is a strategy employed to etch and carve what we've achieved in the hearts and minds of Jamaicans that will be passed down through generations.
You're not talking about physical monument.
No, neighbor. Right?
Uh-huh.
It is not one in which, because remember, you know, buildings do get destroyed. Sites, you know what we've seen with Melissa, a lot of that happen. And as such, it gets erased over time. But
Yes.
when you are in the hearts of people, you go around with them. So it's not an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. And you achieve this through communicating it to the people on their level and let them also be a part of the very achievements, right?
Yes.
Because something like with the crime neighbor, it wasn't just, you know, the financing and the strategies of the government and JCF executing. People played a very integral part. And if you don't speak about it and communicate it in that light,
Yes.
then people will only see two entities and they will say, let me not say the government achieved it, but the JCF. Very much downplaying their involvement in it.
Yes.
And it is on those merit that I'd love to see us getting it to the people, right? Because if we look at it, one of the major things that persons didn't talk about was, you see that thing we've aspired for, community policing and so on?
Yes.
Under the whole achievement, a lot of that happened in the neighbor, but it's not highlighted. But because it is not put in the forefront of the gleaners and the mass media, it's not spoken about. Those people who, names won't be called because they don't want to name anybody, who participated in helping, whether that is information and otherwise. You want to be able to promote and protect those medium. You want to let it be seen that this is also ways in which we achieved the very aspirations we wanted, that you, the people, played a vital role in doing so.
What a
That is how you
fantastic
communicate it.
How do you propose though, Hans, that we even begin to get this started? You are saying that a mental into the hearts of people, that the legacy of this period ought to be etched in the heart. Do you think that wholeness, because I noticed that young people gravitate to him, do you think that something has started in society?
It has, neighbor, right? It has. But the truth is, the very generation that is inspired and is clinged to Mr. Wholeness, they have a shortcoming, and it's a short attention span.
Yes.
Right? And as such, it is one in which you have to be multifaceted in revolutionizing how they think by letting them be associated with the very thing they want. Because you can't let them achieve it but have no association with it. So for example, the whole thing that happened with Melissa and, you know, rebuilding Jamaica, and you'd have heard me said, listen, let's bring in the government institutions like HEART, get people certified and let them build it back so they have that national pride.
Yes.
Right? When people achieve something that they play a part of a larger process, they will never let you forget it, you know. And I share the story where my father had a friend, and this man neighbor literally laid 10 blocks on a building, massive building in St. Catherine. And every time I see him, remind me of it. Because he felt proud of that monumental structure.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And it is, this is how you go about the process. And this is why I'm fighting in terms of the communication, because I never touched on the mode or the model for communication, right? You have one specific one called interactive model, which is what I love, right? Where the communication is only completed, or it can only be considered communication if the very sender gets some form of stimulus from the receiver. So what that happens is you've achieved the thing. So sender is the government now. Say, yes, we've achieved this and done it. We've put it in the very good channel, protecting it from the noise, right? And the people who is a receiver gets it. But the communication doesn't stay there, because in order to advance, the receivers now have to say how they feel and what they think about it. And that goes back to the sender through another channel, which bypasses noise. And that is how you keep it, neighbor, because the people now will see it as a conversation. And that is how communication work. Because you can't be doing things and people are not, giving their perspective. People are not appreciating it. People are not involved in that aspect, right? And that is how you help people to say, listen, you see that policy there? I was a part of a community that help with it or something of that sort. That is how you get it to always remain with the people. So the truth is, you nudge the people through governmental channels and let the people realize that, listen, I am actually the true servant of you. And all I do is remedied or I carve the very suggestions that you put forward that you want to see. Your aspiration that you put forward, I then look at it from a higher level and see how best I can help you achieve it. And as such, when we achieve it, I let you know that you played a very big part in it. And that is how that is passed down from generation to generation. Having monuments and so on is good, It's fine. You can leverage that as well. But the true art of it is that we've seen where people are emotional, people are hurting, and people want to replace that hurt. And this is spanning about 2 to 3 generations from the 80s coming up. People are hurt of that period, neighbor.
Yes.
So much so that people have said the gentleman a few weeks ago that said he suffered because of what happened in the 90s. And likewise, my generation would have. And as such, we're looking for something where we can say, yes, we helped, we carved, we were a part of removing the hurt, the pent-up anger, and let not the sacrifices made by people before us to clean this up. We want something positive to hold on to. And that is what we have to do. And it has to be done within the people.
Yeah. We're going to pick this up tomorrow. Ari, thank you so much. Very good.
Yes, neighbor.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. You opened up a lot more here, sir. Wow. By the way, Harry, before you go, is that anger that we are feeling not part of why we are refusing to accept any less? Our standards have raised, Harry, and going forward, is it not a positive that this very standard that is set to the country, we're not prepared to accept any less?
It is, neighbor. It is, and to the extent where,
in other words, whether it be PNP or JNP, there is a standard set in Jamaica that forever will remain. This is what we expect.
It is where it has to be now, neighbor. The people of Jamaica, having seen both sides of the coin, have made their choice. And it is by no mistake. It doesn't matter how close it may seem for the third term. And I've spoken how critical that third term was for me, specifically when I look at policies, right? And continuity. So the people have seen the worst side of the coin and know one of the best, in fact, the best post-independence of the coin. And as such, people have now been exposed to both. And we spoke about fourth term, they will now decide if they want to continue with it. And I can tell Jamaica that as it stands, I know the misinformation and so on is heavy, but there are things that have not gone in terms of people noticing. They may not speak about it, but people are realizing that where they are now is the reason, or rather, it is because of good governance why they're able to be where they are, right? And as such, they won't let go of that. So even if it takes a margin of 32-31,
it's a one seat margin
in 20, if it's even one seat, neighbor, because we've seen it. I think 2007 was one seat, right?
Yeah.
Where people was hungry for that change. And it is something, the more this administration gets it right, and the more the opposition stays the same, it is the more the people will continue to cling to Mr. Holness and his administration even more. And a lot of silent movement will happen, neighbor, right? And that is a space where you can't necessarily judge, but it will be seen on whenever the next election comes. We will look at the set of people who voted, the demography. Because once this administration doesn't blunder, right? I mean, they're not perfect. But once they don't blunder what is happening and keep this recovery doing well and keep on reassessing and engaging the people, letting them know what is being done, how it's being done, why it is being done, and when it will be completed. You see, keeping people in the know, setting and gauging their expectation is not something you just do in consumerism, neighbor. There's a lot you can look into marketing, because the government has to employ marketing strategies that works, that gets to the very psychology and the physical aspect of people, for them to be a part of what we call being loyal. And I'm not talking loyalists like the tribalistic people. It becomes a brand loyal. And because currently the administration says choose Jamaica, their brand is Jamaica, and the people aspire with that brand, you have to employ those strategies to ensure that you protect the brand, and by protecting the brand, you protect the people. And that anger, neighbor, is what ensures that we want to push brand Jamaica that we build, because that's how people will see it, right? They won't see it as the politicians anymore. And that is what you do when you communicate these things really well with people, when you engage them. And because people have now accepted the standard at which they should be serviced, the very least, nobody else, doesn't matter if you're J or you're P, coming after this administration cannot drop that bar, because I can tell you, as soon as the next election comes, that party will be voted out. And that's how radical people can be when they've accepted something that is in advancement for themselves.
So true. Well, listeners, I don't think you can handle anymore. Can you handle any more, listeners? Tell me. Can you handle any more? I think you have your fill tonight. You just need a little dessert. I don't understand at all.
They don't seem to be lacking support. They just say, what's that word? Trot. You know that trot one?
Well, I don't understand.
I just wish I was getting more support, neighbor.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna have to make another appeal to them. Maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. All right, so we're off tomorrow. Talk to you all.
I think you should speak to Harry and Scratchy about that. But I hope you feel better, neighbor, and we will speak tomorrow. Hopefully you'll feel much better.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness, that makes me so sad.
And I know you own my heart, and I wanna say it.
All right, Harry, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Yeah.
What makes you sad, neighbor?
I'm sad because I think we work so hard to get this show up and running. That I thought that our listeners would show great appreciation for it. Maybe we're not explaining. Maybe we are not Mark. Harry. Maybe we are not communicating, Harry. We are failing.
Oh my! See that? But the communicational channels again.
Maybe we are not communicating. Well, seriously though, Caroline, I think the listeners will have to decide what they want, because you can easily come here and open the lines and just have a talk shop. If that is what and that would be a pity.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
But the work that goes behind the scene here is quite significant, and we do what we do anyway.
You're far away from me, my love.
876-858-9553. That's the WhatsApp number.
Is there stars above?
876-858-9553. WhatsApp. That's anywhere in the world you are. 876-858-9553. If you WhatsApp that number, you'll get to Politics Plus.
I know.
If you're in the United States, the Zelle account is 954-635-8732. That's 954-635-8732. So if you are in Jamaica, the WhatsApp is 876-858-9553.
Tell everybody now. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. A long time ago,
Once you text that number, WhatsApp, then
I made a big.
you'll get a response from that.
I